The first time I encountered a concussion was when I was playing club rugby, and I remember one of my teammates getting hit and then acting quite confused and didn't know which way we were going, didn't know what the score was. So I helped her off the field, and I remember thinking after, like, there really should be some kind of protocol around this. I'm Dr. Tina Atkinson. I'm a sport and exercise medicine physician, and a large part of my practice is doing concussion assessments and managing concussions. So I'm going to get you to watch this panel. One thing I've noticed over the years in my practice is there's a lot of misinformation and lack of awareness around concussion. If you know the up-to-date information on concussion and you know what to do, it can make a big difference in the recovery. And we want to make sure that people don't hit their head again while they have a concussion, but we also want them to recover fully and have no long-term effects from that concussion. So concussion is a brain injury. It's an injury that you can't see on regular tests that we would do in the hospital. It's an impact to your brain that affects the way you behave, the way you think, and the way your brain works. Concussion can happen from many different ways. The most common would be from sports or from falls, from motor vehicle accidents, and just everyday sort of incidents hitting your head.
I was in gym class, I was jogging backwards playing tag. I tripped over someone's foot, and shortly after, someone kicked me in the head by accident when they were running. I couldn't really stand up because I felt really dizzy, so I had my head buried in the ground. I remember feeling lightheaded, dizzy, and I just couldn't sit up.
There are many signs and symptoms of a concussion, the most common one being you hit your head or you have an impact to your head and you get a headache. You can feel dizzy, you can have blurry vision, and a lot of people just complain they don't feel right, they feel kind of foggy. The biggest thing is stop what you're doing and remove yourself from that activity. If it's a fall, you want to get up and get in a safe place where you're not going to hit your head again. In the first few minutes or hours from a concussion, it's really important to monitor your symptoms, and if any of those symptoms are getting worse, sudden weakness or tingling in your arms, your legs, your neck, sudden vomiting or severe vomiting that's not stopping, loss of consciousness, those are indications that you need to go to the hospital right away. Your symptoms should be improving even slightly after 48 hours, but if they're not, you should make an appointment to try to see a doctor. If there are no red flags and you don't need to go to the hospital, it's important to rest. So ideally that means go home with someone. You shouldn't be left alone. You should have someone with you the whole time. You want to avoid screens, loud noises, bright lights, and you just really need a place to rest for up to about 48 hours.
I really wanted to get back to my friends and to school, because just sitting at home, I just got bored of it. But I knew it would help me in the long run. Because if I just kept on pushing myself too hard, going on screens, I knew it was going to affect me later on.
We've all been conditioned to think that you can push through things and that makes you tough and strong, but really there are certain conditions where you need to rest, and concussion's the big one. Rest makes all the difference in the beginning.
With concussions, respecting the child's and understanding and trusting your child's feelings is important. Patience was all that was needed.
I was really sensitive to light and sound. I would try to do my homework or my assignments because I didn't want them to go missing, but I would just get really bad headaches.
We try to maintain composure within our home, not to be loud, not to have loud music, not to have the TV loud.
I mean, my parents and my sister, they're all very understanding. So they would ask me how I felt and what was going on. I don't think I would have been able to heal without my dad, my mom, my sister.
If your symptoms have improved, which they should after 48 hours, if you're truly resting, then it's important to start doing some light activities. Early activity actually helps recovery. The most important thing is not to do too much too soon. Do it at a slow pace and take breaks throughout the day. Gradually increase physical activities, things that involve more thinking, like reading, maybe go on the computer.
Thea would try something, and if it bothered her, she would stop and rest.
Say we went for a walk, we wouldn't go for 30 minutes, we'd go for only 15 minutes. And I put the piano on low so I could just ease into it. and I think I would do it like 5 minutes, then take a little break.
It was an important part of the healing process because if you tried something, then if it didn't work, then you pull back.
There are Return to Play and Return to Learn resources, which you can find on the Brain Injury Nova Scotia website.
I felt really nice and happy that I could go back and do things that I love with my family and friends. I think I was able to heal because I listened to my body and I had so many people just helping me out.
Be supportive to each other, be kind to each other, and don't take each other for granted. It is a great place to be as a family unit and as a parent to see a child recover completely.
In Nova Scotia, there are just over 10,000 concussions every year, and approximately half of those are in youth. Early identification of a concussion is key to your best recovery.